In this episode of 10x Forward, we have three different guests. How can research and the connection to academia lead to new opportunities for Braga's startups? How are the two international startups Uphold and X-Money related to this ecosystem? Stay tuned.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
What do you do for a living?
So my name is Roberto. I'm a founder and CEO at Visual and one of the co-founders of Utrust, now X-Money. I've been working in the blockchain space for a long time, 12 years, since 2012, which when we did our first project here in Braga. Actually, we were still in our University of Minho small room, and we were trying with the technology, and we tried to build a project with it. And fast forward in 2014, we end up working with Bit Reserve, which is now called Uphold. That you probably are going to talk more about it. And later on in 2017, I had the chance to talk with Nuno Correia, which became my co-founder at Utrust. We had a crazy conversation about PayPal, how bad it was, how scammy it was even, and bad for users, and how blockchain could change the world, and we could do something about it. And together with Artur and Philippe, we ended up starting Utrust, a cryptocurrency payment system, with buyer protection, which was more similarity with PayPal. And through that, we raised an ICO, which was a new thing, an initial coin offering, about 20 million US dollars, or the equivalent of that in Ethereum and Bitcoin. We built a huge team here in Braga with people across Europe. And in 2021, we ended up selling the company to Multiverse X, that turned it into X-Money. I'm still an advisor in the company, and through Visual, still building a lot of projects in blockchain from Braga to the world.
And I just realized you mentioned the small room in the uni.
Mm-hmm.
We basically start in the same room.
Yes.
People remember that. Yeah, I'm a software engineer as well. We actually studied together. And I just realized we crossed a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So we started on the same room. Eventually, that project was spin up into something different. I ended up founding Cytel with a few friends from uni as well. Software development agency. We work a lot with fintech companies, and we run the company for 7-8 years, where we work multiple times together in a couple of fintech projects. And it's interesting that you work at Bit Reserve even before all that I'm going to say now. And then after 7 years running Cytel, the agency, we were approached by Uphold at the time, which was the new name for Bit Reserve. And I joined, and this was 5 years ago, I joined Uphold, where I'm the CTO today. Uphold is not so small fintech, where we work a lot of crypto projects and Web3 projects. Interesting fact is, although it's a company with $3 billion in assets under management, most of the technology was built in Braga, and I don't think everyone realized that. Most of the controls around those funds were built in Braga. And yeah, today we are 350 plus people. We have offices all over the world, but really proud to say that the Braga office is still the main one, I can say. It's not the headquarters technically, but the bigger office. We have in Braga more than 100 people, mostly engineers. And yeah, I mean, pretty cool to work in such a crazy industry and welcome to the office.
So I was very interested in your background. I'm also from here, from Braga. I was born and raised. Basically, my background was, distributed systems. I kept on going until the university said that there's no more degrees to get. So I get all the degrees that they were available to get. And then I started with a couple of friends also from uni, trying to transfer the research we are doing into products. And we did a couple of different tries and so on. And Invisible Lab, which is the company I have today with his friends, basically is intended to be a lab where you can try new ideas and, if possible, make them a product, make them usable. Of course, most of the time we also do development, tailored development for other companies. And in this context, we also work together a lot in crypto projects. Not because of the Web3 space thing, but because of the protection, the distributed systems stuff that it's underneath, which is the most interesting part for me personally. And yeah, with that, we did a lot of different stuff.
And did you fund the projects? Do you get investors to invest locally, or?
We always try funding round, but sometimes we fund it with other projects, and we manage the team in such a way that you are working for a project, but you have time to explore ideas and so on. It's a skill that you learn when you do research, because when you do research, you always lack money.
Yeah.
So in the end, you are able to have teams that are able to deliver multiple stuff at the same time.
And how do you find attracting money to Braga? Well, and it's been, 10 years more? What difference do you see, attracting money 10 years ago into it?
There are a couple of things where it's harder. There are a couple of things where it's easier. So I will try to explain. So it's harder sometimes in terms of the credibility. When you say, I'm from Braga and I'm here in this ecosystem, and the ecosystem is not known by that person or that entity. Okay, sometimes this can be, this can make you have to work a little bit harder to show your work, show what your credentials. The good thing is, in the context of the European Union, Portugal is still, and Braga specifically, are still considered developing regions. So sometimes it's very beneficial to have a Portuguese or a Braga-based company in a consortium. Okay, so this sometimes is beneficial, and it's...
You say beneficial, in the sense, public funds and public money? Okay,
yes.
Interesting.
Because sometimes, or most of the times, these funding lines have rules, and they require a certain number of partners, and they require some certain characteristics of these partners. And so this is sometimes good.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's tough. But
But how do you feel 10 years from 10 years have gone, and 10 years
it's very different, because now there's things. 10 years ago there was nothing.
Actually, you couldn't showcase we know how to build. Oh, well done.
Yeah. There is one thing that became harder. It became easier because of what I was saying, that there are stuff that you can show, that you can build on stuff that already exists, and keep on moving. There's one thing that is a bit harder with respect, more specifically, to public funding and very large sums of money, which is these calls have become really, really professional. Okay, maybe when we had a project called Safe Cloud here in Braga, with 3.5 million in total, which was huge at the time. We did it by writing ourselves the proposal with our own ideas. It was possible. Nowadays, you need a professional team.
And you feel that those skills now exist in Braga? Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, sure.
No, in that thing, I think we are on par.
Yeah. And you're aware to, obviously, not so much on the public sector.
Yeah, I think I've been always connected with startups, even from the beginning, and mostly working with startups outside of Portugal for the first years of the company. I think Braga has something very special, which is it's very small, very concentrated. And actually, I was saying that there was nothing, and it's very unfair to a few things that existed that were huge at the time in the country's perspective, like Mobicom being acquired by Microsoft and stuff like that. And you saying that such a small city can have a huge impact is very beneficial, because if you bring someone from abroad here to know the city, you almost can introduce him in one day to the main stakeholders and not like second-tier people. You really introduce them to the important people, and that for me, when I was working with founders that came from the US or other countries, was very beneficial, and also showing them the city, the startup Braga that was growing at the time. It was always easy to introduce them to the director of Startup Braga, and Startup Braga always helped a lot in these processes, which was very, very important for us. And I think across the years, we also started to see the space growing and growing and growing, and naturally have more synergies with more people, which is also very interesting. Another aspect is in the blockchain space or crypto space specifically. I've been joking with about this for a few years. I consider Braga to be the mecca of crypto in Portugal. And it's especially funny to say this in Lisbon and to Lisbon people, because right now Lisbon is one of the major hubs of crypto in the world, not just in Europe or wherever. A lot of important people in the space moved there, which is amazing for the country as a whole. But I still continue saying that because per capita, we are still probably rocking the numbers. Like the amount of people working in crypto and blockchain in Braga, it's amazing for the size of the city. And also it's very interesting because Francisco forgot to mention that he actually was an advisor to Utrust in the early days. And I really found that moment really special, where a few folks from Braga, Porto and Lisbon got together in Braga to build a startup. They brought people from the university, PhDs and all. He had Startup Braga helping us a lot in the beginning with community stuff, and also unlocking some potential partners and stuff like that. And we built something amazing in a few months. Like, we raised a lot of money, we built a huge team. We brought Sanyakon, that was working for PayPal at the time, moved to work for a company in Braga, which she didn't know that existed, the city. Yep. Was like, what the hell is that? Is that Braga? And she came here and moved from PayPal to Utrust, and that all of that journey was really special and amazing.
I can definitely relate to that. Like, one thing that I can definitely see the difference is, you guys probably remember this. 10 years ago, even convincing someone from Porto to work in Braga, good luck, you know. And I mean, today, I almost don't need to convince. Like, even there are a lot of people that move countries to work in Braga.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not even a question. Like, they just walk around the city, you see the number of projects that started here in the city.
And building on top of that, I don't know if you also feel the same, but of course we are a bit biased because we are from here, but I feel that all these dynamics are also based on a community that grew over time.
Yeah.
A community of founders, a community of tech people, a community of that does not see as the main goal, my own focus, my own success, but is able to, get into a conversation, help each other, unblock stuff, sometimes even through competitor.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
competing, but they are helping each other because they were able to see the benefits of building this community in a city that is.
It's a true ecosystem, right? I mean, I remember like back in the days, literally some of folks working with Roberto came to my office when we had a peak of work, and like working there, like technically we're competitors, but like
we never saw it like that.
So like when I had to somehow grow the team for a project, I would literally go to Roberto, knock on the door, like, can you help?
Yeah. I think one of the things that was very interesting for us since the beginning, and when I say beginning, I'm saying 2011, 2012, where I was 21, 22 years old, and I basically knew nothing about starting companies or businesses. I didn't have any example in the family or stuff like that. And I'll never forget that I was selling websites to butcher shops in Braga or stuff like that for 300 euros. It was
$300.
yeah, it was charging a lot. They were asking for free. Of course, I was young. I was supposed to learn, and I really remember a few years later when Startup Braga was starting, and Thiago and Alex and Carlos, of course, they all were pushing for this. How the conversation moved for me, where I was seeing the people that I was looking for outside of Portugal, here in my hometown, in a place that I could go there. And before that, Factory Braga existed. We went there for events, but Startup Braga really moved the needle in that. For that, we like on a monthly basis, you had interesting people coming here that you could talk with and learn from, and that was really important for me personally and for us as a company. Moving forward, in the years that came, where we were always organizing events at Generation and participating in the accelerator programs with some of the companies that we're working with, it wasn't really important, inspiring, and I think that without it will be hard for us to grow the company and later on start things like Trust from Braga. It was really important for us.
Yeah, for me, but I do remember, obviously the timeline is very similar to yours. Is Startup Braga brought a lot of first brought the community together and brought a lot of validation. As you, I literally knew nothing, right? And we're basically taking risks every day, even though sometimes I didn't know I was taking risks. And having the community together, these events, you mentioned Factory, I remember obviously a lot of events in Generation, in Subvisual as well. Getting the community together kind of validates that what we're doing, there's more people like us who are trying to build stuff. And I think that was pivotal for us to continue the momentum of trying to build something.
I wanted to add just something else that is also Startup Braga was a school for a lot of people. So a lot of people that went through Startup Braga moved on to work in companies. I know a few cases of people that came to work with me, for example, at Utrust, but also Subvisual. So I think it's a school for people. You are surrounded by smart people and technology and challenges, and that's really important as well.
Invisible is incubated there.
You?
I am there every day. And I also did one of the acceleration programs at Startup Braga. So my connection with Startup Braga is very, very close.
So where do you think it's going to be 10 years from today?
That's a good question. I feel that there is a lot of work to do. So we are seeing a lot of good things, but there is still a lot of work to do. We should not stop attracting new people. We should not stop convincing young kids in college that there is a path where they can build their own destiny, build their own companies, which I feel that is decreasing, or at least decreased a little bit in the last years. Maybe also COVID didn't help. But I think in that, we still have a lot to do. And we need more success cases. So we need more companies being bought by foreign companies. We need more capital coming in. We need more people investing in newcomers. So my hope for 10 years, for the next 10 years, is that we don't relax and still do the job that that I'm describing of try to increase this ecosystem, and also and that reflects in more and more we see Braga as a hub for technology and emergent technologies like blockchain, AI, or whatever comes next in the next 5-6 years.
I'll definitely I'll subscribe to the risk taking. So we definitely need more people taking more risks. I'm with you. I feel like there was a slowdown. I'm not sure if slowdown, but at least the pace might have decreased a little bit.
Yeah.
I would love to see that coming. and attracting capital. Like I think it's still difficult for a new project to attract world capital, and I'm confident in 10 years maybe that's not a problem anymore. Yeah.
I don't know if 10 years will be enough in the head, but I hope it is. But I see three main challenges here. Although I see the potential with the city, with the people from here, everything that was accomplished up until now shows that there is potential, there is the capabilities here. But I think there are three challenges. One is funding. You already mentioned it in the sense that you still have a lot of these conversations when you talk with VCs and founders and funding, where they say, that's fine. I like the project, but I need you to move to London or to somewhere to get the capital.
Yeah.
And this is still a barrier, and I think this is a challenge.
It is.
A second challenge is the city itself. We see a lot of, construction. The city is changing. There are challenges with the city. So to get more people in, there are a couple of challenges that are physical challenges in the city. Some things are being done, but it's still something that cannot be slowed down. We are close to the airport, but there are a couple of things here in order to make the city more livable. And the third thing is critical mass. So it's true. Sometimes when I'm a bit from the the university background and so on, and of course in the university we always say we want to compete with MIT and with Harvard and with Oxford and so on, and we feel like we can do it, but we still need to grow our critical mass. You cannot compete without having strong companies pulling and getting out of the university the solutions they need for their problems. This is huge. If the companies don't go there and ask for it, if there's no pool, it's very hard. And you need to attract the best students. And this is super hard. Okay, this is massive, because now you have...
And convince them to stay right after the...
Yes, but if you have these companies, it could be, it could be a good synergy.
Yeah.
But since the university market is global, if you are a good student, why won't you apply to to the Netherlands or to Switzerland or to Belgium? Top tier universities. Why not? It's possible. It's here. So we need to convince people that we have good stuff here as well. And these are the three challenges. If we can build on this in the next 10 years, I think we can keep this Braga growing.
Agree.
Place.
Agree.
I also think that synergies with Porto is super important. I think Braga will never, Porto region in general, I think Braga is very interesting, but as a city, will never have certain things that Porto has, starting with the cultural events, being close to the sea, etc., etc. So
Francing is better.
Francing is better here. That's a fact. But there are things that we hardly can replace, and having good synergies with Porto. A lot of people that is moving to Porto from all over the place, UK, US, or other parts in Europe. It's amazing that we can bring those to Braga. It's a 30-minute drive. We are almost in the same time space that takes from going from Lisbon to Oeiras or something like that. And we need that connection to be much stronger. And I think it will increase opportunities.
I think it's happening. It's getting there. Yeah.
Actually, on that, I have a question for you, because since Uphold is already based, across the world, and we had this COVID time where people mostly stayed at home. This trend of working from home, picked a little bit faster than was predicted, and so on. Looking at diversity, looking at the geography, where do you see this going? Because my perspective is that with the fully remote or the remote first work, we are losing some things along the way, from the point of view of creativity within a team, from the point of view of cooperation between the team, conflict resolution, and so on. how do you see this in a geography like Braga that has sometimes this difficulty of
Getting people. You know what? It's super interesting. One, we don't have like strong opinions on if we're going to be remote, hybrid, or we work in an hybrid setup, but just because. I mean, we have some people that don't live close to the office. We're not a remote first company for sure. One thing I can share is our offices are full, like literally. And sometimes we struggle to get desks at the office. And after COVID, particularly, I can tell you that way more people, especially people not from Braga, moved to work in the office. So I'm not sure if we can extrapolate this to the market, but we're actually seeing, I guess, the reverse of the trend, with the positive that we seem to be attracting people to live and work in Braga. And I think that's the thing that excites me most about what's to come is the city have changed. I think culturally the city is changing for the better. We have a pool of skills that we didn't have before. We have positions of global management in Braga that I think would be very difficult a few years ago. And obviously that triggers a trend or more people joining those departments, and suddenly start to have a pool of skills that we didn't have access before. While I think the reason why Uphold ended up staying in Braga and growing in Braga is the software development side, the digital product side. Now we have set of assets that if you asked me 10 years ago, I didn't know we had in Braga.
Should they create a blockchain campy?
I mean, is as you said before. So the number of projects in that space that we have here is significant. It's not something that you can, look away or something. It's significant. It's an important part of how the city is growing. I have a lot of opinions on blockchain and so on. I feel like it's a technological trend, a way of thinking that is going to be important in the future. It's going to be part of our societies. I'm not sure it's going to be exactly as it is today. That's a good thing.
I can guarantee
that increase the need for a hub to explore new ideas within the space. And I have a second wish, since we can say whatever we want.
We have wishes.
They'll cut it in the end. Which is creating an hub, like a program for blockchain. And second one is a Vils piece inside generation with a Bitcoin logo or something similar. And by the way, Vils is up to it, so just a matter of giving the wall.
So it's out there. The ask is out there. That would be super cool. Cool. Here's for another 10 years, I guess.
Cheers.